Hi, guys. I'm Dr. Jenny White, a dentist in Sarasota, Florida, and her fearless patient, Susan, with our podcast, Open Wide, Unfiltered Opinions Between a Dentist and Her Patient. Over the past 25 years or so, I've been sitting in a little room talking to myself all day, and I've gained a lot of wisdom through that process, which I want to share with you. We hope our podcast casts optimism and fearlessness to you so you can rise to the top, stay at the top, and dream bigger than you've ever imagined. So on today's podcast, the soup du jour is celebrating women in history. Susan, I would like to raise
a
tall glass of coffee and LaCroix water.
Yep.
And toast all the women in history.
Amen, sister.
Oh my gosh, this is going to be a good one. And you know, you've all taken time out of your day, shifted your attention to listen to us, given us your time. I think that time is our most important currency. And I'd like to celebrate everyone out there listening. Thank you. Thank you. I just returned from a very fast visit to Washington, D.C. On my way to a West Virginia wedding. And better half Tom and I did a 4 hardcore hour of museuming. And of course, I wanted to visit the Holocaust Museum, as I've never been. On a side note, I think we tend to go to Washington, D.C. as a child, some, school field trip or something like that. Then if you have children, you take your child to Washington, D.C., but we don't go as adults just to go. And I think that needs to change. Our country is absolutely amazing, and we need to remember what it took to get us where we are. Also, did you know that birds are the last remnants of dinosaurs that we have?
No.
Learned that in the museum. Also, did you know that the Hope Diamond is 45 plus carats?
Well, that I did know.
Okay, anyway, back on topic. One of my heroes is the German-born Jewish girl, Anne Frank. She was born in 1929. She died in 1945. This girl was 16 years old when she died. She wrote a book so famous now, it's second in line to the Bible. The Diary of a Young Girl is the title. It's the most telling remembrance of the Holocaust around. She had an older sister, Margot, her mother, Edith, and her father, Otto. And I'm just going to kind of paint the picture here. They moved from Germany to Amsterdam in 1933 to escape Nazi persecution. In 1942, facing growing anti-Semitic persecution, the Frank family went into hiding in a secret annex behind Otto, the father's workplace in Amsterdam. They remained in hiding for more than 2 years, and they were joined by another family and one other person. In 1944, they were discovered, and it's rumored that an informant turned them in. They were deported to Auschwitz, later to Bergen-Belsen concentration camp, where Anne died, they're guessing, of typhus in 1945. If she would have lived 2 more weeks, she would have been freed. Her father, Otto, is the only one that survived the camp, and a friend who helped them hide in the secret annex gave Otto Anne's diary. He found it, he kept it, and when Otto got out, he gave it to Otto. Otto published her book in 1947. Her diary and book tell the story of a young girl's life amid the horrors of Hitler's war, and yet she was a testament of hope, resilience, and never giving up on humanity. The thing that resonates with me from the get-go is that no matter how horrifying, and I cannot imagine anything more horrific, she always found the light. Even literally in the dark, Anne wrote about positivity, seeking happiness, internal contentment, and soul searching. She was writing between the ages of 13 and 16. And I was thinking to myself, what was I doing during that time? I was probably worrying about my rank on the tennis team, why so-and-so was mean to me, enjoying a good case of acne, listening to Duran Duran, and taking the SAT to get ready for college. I was not in hiding in a 450 square foot area with 8 other people, fearing every second of every day that I could be assassinated, sent to a concentration camp or other forms of torture, and not knowing if there was an end to the hell, and not knowing if food was going to come, and not knowing if I would get to eat that day. Some of Anne's most famous quotes. In spite of everything, I still believe that people are really good at heart. And I just want all of our listeners to remember that. In spite of everything, people are really good at heart. Her second most famous quote, how wonderful it is that nobody need wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. Another one, where there is hope, there is life. It fills us with fresh courage and makes us strong again. So if there is hope, there is life. I just think about her in this little room, seeing everything that she's seen, and she's saying if there is hope inside of her, there's life.
Yeah. She was a old soul in a
Oh.
young body. She really was.
She also said, real quickly, the last three that I have here, no one has ever become poor by giving. People can tell you to keep your mouth shut, but that does not stop you from having your own opinion. In the long run, the sharpest weapon of all is a kind and gentle spirit. I mean, Susan,
Amazing.
what do we even say?
Yeah. Well, thanks for celebrating and, bringing the story of Anne Frank to today's podcast. I think that story should be told in every single classroom all over the world because it is such an amazing story about a testimony of somebody who saw bad and tried to find good, and an amazing testimony to what humans can do to other humans too. And I don't want anyone to ever forget that awful period of time. I mean, here was this 13-year-old that should have been skipping and playing like little songs with her friends and braiding each other's hair and going roller skating and stuff like that. And she's stuck in this little room with all these people, and this atrocity was going on around her. It was just really, really, really awful. And I am glad that you are celebrating her today. And I don't want us to ever forget Anne Frank.
I don't either. I don't want anyone to forget, and I can't even relate to anyone that says the Holocaust didn't happen. I
Oh,
mean,
Jake, it's those
that
people.
is, I can't even go there.
You,
Um,
I was just going to say, I was thinking about the Holocaust, and I was thinking about how did it first come to people's psyche what was going on in Germany in the early 1930s, late 1920s, early 1930s. And I discovered that, of course, like most conflict around the world, it's the photographers and the journalists that are the ones that bring things to people's attention. And you may not know this, but there was an American journalist whose name was Dorothy Thompson, and she was stationed in Berlin. She was the head of the Berlin department for the New York Post in the late 20s and the early 30s. And she met Hitler and she did an interview on him, and it was kind of a bad interview. She called him the little man, and he really didn't have any backbone or anything. And so when he read this article, he expelled her from Germany. She had 24 hours to get out of town. And when she left for the for the train station, a journalist from all over the world were at the train station with American Beauty roses to give to her to say, goodbye, good job. But when she got back to the United States, she wasn't letting go of this because she saw the early uprising, and she was a radio broadcaster and spent the rest of the war talking about this guy and his crazy politics. And so she deserves a lot of credit too. And she's an unsung hero, I think.
Thank God. And
Yeah.
you're right, journalists and photographers
Yeah.
play such a huge role, and
Mm.
that's why journalism is so important. I know Albert Einstein talked to Churchill about the atrocities that were going on that he saw. But I mean, it's easy for me now to say everyone was late to the game.
Yeah.
Everyone was late to get there, but
Yeah.
I don't know, like it happened as it happened.
Yeah. Do you think it could happen again? What's your opinion on that? Like, do you feel like there's enough checks and balances in place? I,
I I
I know it's a hard
I mean,
question to
it's
answer.
hard to
Yeah.
it's hard to
Yeah.
even
It's
fathom.
hard to even think about. You're
It's
right.
hard to fathom it. The other thing, going back to Anne Frank, that just came to me, Susan, was not only was she in this room with all these people, but she was almost living like a normal life inside this 450 square foot thing
Mhm.
area with the, so and so is annoying me. I'm cold. I don't have enough blankets. Why can't we have a fire? Like the day to day things that happen, or somebody just, I mean, I hate to say it, but somebody just farted and it stinks. I mean, all the things that are going on, and literally outside of her brick wall was the Holocaust, was the war. I I just can't
I know. It's
get
hard.
my
It's really hard to
head
fathom. It really is. Yeah.
around that. And I also overheard someone saying, if you ever want to go to Amsterdam and see the area where Anne Frank hid, you better make your reservation about a year in advance because it's always booked.
Good.
Booked solid.
That's good.
I know. And I'm like, thank God.
Yeah.
So in wrapping up Anne Frank and moving on to our next amazing woman in history, I think it's time that we stop worrying about a hair day, not having enough time to pick up the dry cleaning, stressing about our friends over dinner and what to cook, yelling at the kids for running through the house with muddy shoes, and yelling at the dog for peeing on the couch. Maybe that was just me. Who cares? At the end of your life, none of that matters. Take a deep breath and ask yourself, how are you doing right now? Seriously. How are you doing at this minute? In this minute, everything is okay. We've got to change our perspective. We've got to breathe. And if Anne can do what she did, we can certainly celebrate her and let her young bravery and wisdom penetrate our lives for just a second. I wish I could have met Anne, and I know you do too, Susan. My heart breaks over what happened to such a beautiful person. But I just want to say thank you, Anne Frank, for blessing us with your soul on paper. We celebrate you and your contribution to humanity. And Susan, speaking of celebrating, could we just take a pause for a quick moment to have a slightly refreshing cocktail?
Yes.
I think it would help us celebrate the women even more.
Okay. So today's cocktail is called Bee's Knees. And it's actually the name of the cocktail, although I want to call it Wind Beneath My Wings, since we're talking about women who empower us. But anyway, it's called the Bee's Knees. It's the actual name of it. And it was a drink that was thought of in the 1930s, since this is the decade we're talking about. And Bee's Knees in the 30s was a way you could tell somebody was excellent. So, oh, that's the Bee's Knees if you like something. It meant excellent or top of their game or something like that. So let's toast with a drink called the Bee's Knees to the excellent women whose stories we're talking about today.
Amen. Cheers, Susan. Oh, I like that.
Yeah, it's good. So it's gin, honey syrup, which is honey that's diluted with water, and lemon juice.
That's the gin I love.
Yeah.
This is like a breakfast. I mean, not a breakfast drink, but a brunch early morning, something refreshing.
Right. Something from
early
7 a.m. to
summer.
9 a.m. Right. Oh my God.
Is Bee's Knees the same as saying cat's meow? Do you think?
Same thing.
It's the cat's meow.
Yeah, same
This
thing.
is the Bee's
These are the
cat's
bee's
meow
knees,
knees.
yeah.
Yes. Thank you. So let's talk about another amazing person, female in history.
Okay.
Take it away.
Oh, you want me to start?
Oh,
Okay.
sure.
So I was thinking about this subject, and I was thinking about women who demonstrate major courage, like your story about Anne Frank. And the woman that comes to mind for me is Harriet Tubman. Now, Harriet Tubman was a social activist and abolitionist, and from 1850 to 1860, this is just pre-Civil War, she ran something called the Underground Railroad, which most people think is actually a railroad. It had nothing to do with railroads. It was just safe houses on routes that she would take to find enslaved men and women and bring them to freedom. And over the course of that 10 years, she did 11 different trips to various places to find people and bring them to freedom. And she saved over 90 people during that period of time. But what makes Harriet's story most interesting to me is, first of all, she was a small, petite girl. Second of all, when she was younger, somebody threw a rock at her and hit her head, which gave her chronic pain for the rest of her life. She also had that sleeping disease called narcolepsy, and which meant that she had hallucinations and she could fall asleep at the drop of a hat. And many times when she was doing these rescues, she would do in the winter because that gave her a longer night. There was more nightfall, so she was under the cover of darkness when she was freeing the slaves. Many of whom, by the way, were her family members, including her husband. She when she reached freedom, he was still enslaved, but she went back to get him. But when she went back to get him, he had already hooked up with another woman and said he wasn't leaving. So that's a whole nother story. But anyway, so I know. But think about this for a second. She was this small girl. She worked in the cold. She worked in the darkness. She had narcolepsy. She hit on the head, so she had all these headaches and chronic pain. And she was Black in an all-white society where she was constantly being hunted, like literally being hunted. And so I want to celebrate Harriet Tubman today for the work that she did. And she lived to be 91. She continued well after the Civil War to be a social activist. She became a nurse. And she and her family eventually settled in northern New York, in Albany, New York, where there's a shrine to her. So someday I'd love to go see that. So I'm taking my hat off today to Harriet Tubman for the work that she did.
Oh,
Very courageous work that
we
she
need
did.
to celebrate her.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, it was
let's
toast to Harriet.
bees knees.
Bees knees,
Bees
Harriet.
knees, Harriet. So my brain says, as you were telling the story, all of the things about her, and yet she was saving people.
Yeah.
She was saving children.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, could you imagine Operation, I've got to save as many people as I can and get them out, and at the same time, any second, I could be taken out for doing it.
Yeah.
So many people would take the route of, I'm going to save myself.
Yeah, exactly. And this is
I'm
the
gonna
reason
save
why
me.
I don't know if I could do it if I were in that situation. You know what I mean? So I'm so in awe of these courageous women.
And I don't know for sure if I could either, but I'd like to think that I could.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to think so too.
I
yeah.
mean, please.
I know, but
I mean, when push comes to shove and you are in the trenches, face down with the dirt in your teeth, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
That's why I always say stress brings out the true character of a person. And sometimes when I'm on an airplane and things aren't going well, and I think to myself, and people are flipping out just because of whatever, I think, ooh, the inner demons. The inner demons are coming out of that one.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman, thank you.
Yeah. She had a great quote, which I'll end with, which was, I have the right to liberty or death. And if I can't have one, I'll take the other.
God.
I mean, think about that. I know.
I can't even think that deeply.
I know.
Ugh. All right. So let's ping pong. Another beautiful woman that I'm going to celebrate, not Tay-Tay, not Beyonce, not a Kardashian, and not my favorite actress, Katharine Hepburn. I love Katharine Hepburn, but instead being the nerdy dentist that I am, I want to celebrate a woman who invented the mobile X-ray unit to provide critical X-ray services to field hospitals, allowing doctors to help soldiers. This woman is the first and only woman to have won 2 Nobel Prizes in 2 different scientific fields, chemistry and physics, and her name is, drum roll, Marie Curie. Woo! Remember Marie Curie?
Yeah.
When was the last time you thought about Marie Curie? For me, it's been a long, long time. I take x-rays all day in the dental office, and I do not think ever about the x-ray beam, who invented that. Marie was born in, and this is interesting, Marie was born in 1867 in Warsaw, Poland. So in 1867, Poland was under Russian control, and women were not allowed to attend regular universities under the Russian regime. So her family struggled with poverty. Her mother and sister died. And in 1891, at the ripe old age of 24, she moved to Paris, attending the Sorbonne, one of the few places that admitted women in the scientific fields. She and her husband, Pierre, discovered 2 new elements and won their first Nobel Prize for discovering polonium and radium. And to be honest with you, I didn't even know polonium was an element. It does not ring a bell to me. And I did take science class. So, there you go. I learned something. They also had 2 children, both girls. One became a scientist, one became a journalist. How important journalists are today. When her husband passed from a street accident, I don't even know what that means, but I'm assuming
A buggy ran him over or something.
Yeah, a buggy and a horse trampling. She took over his teaching position at the Sorbonne, becoming the first female professor there, all while also raising two kids. In 1911, she won a second Nobel Prize for isolating radium and advancing the understanding of radioactive substances. During World War I, she developed mobile X-ray machines to aid battlefield medical care that helped over 1 million wounded soldiers. She passed at the age of 67 in 1934 from aplastic anemia, which can be caused by a prolonged radiation exposure, which is pretty sad to me. Also, people don't know exactly what causes aplastic anemia, but that's what she passed from. This woman not only has an amazing academic brain, but she took zero financial reward for her work.
Mm.
She broke gender barriers, she served humanity, and here are some of Marie's most famous quotes. "Nothing in life is to be feared, it is only to be understood."
Mm-hmm.
Could we just apply that right now to the world?
Mm. Yeah, that'd be great.
Be less curious about people and more curious about ideas. I love that. You can hope to build a better world without improving the individuals. To that end, each of us must work for his own improvement and at the same time share a general responsibility for all humanity, our particular duty being to aid those to whom we think we can be most useful. And lastly, now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less. I would like to take the first one and the last one.
Yeah.
Nothing in life is to be feared, it's only to be understood. And now is the time to understand more so that we may fear less.
Mm.
Is that not amazing? And how in the world back then did she create a mobile X-ray unit?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's
Well, she
just
was so bright,
mind-boggling.
she was just so bright and great for her that she was able to get a platform to show her intellectual prowess, and Pierre was a big help to that. But after he passed, she was a big help to other women scientists.
Yes.
So she opened up her lab to other women to come in. And so that says a lot about her too, that she wasn't trying to push women away, that she was embracing them, because a lot of these women were shunned from other labs, these scientists. Women, and they were shunned from other labs, but she opened up her lab to worldwide scientists, and they could study and do what you do in labs with her. Yeah,
Labbying.
labbying, yeah, with her,
You
which I
know,
think is great.
and the Sorbonne probably was a great platform for her for outreach, to put together an amazing team to help her and get the best of the best
Yeah,
and reach out and all of that. So it just, again, another amazing woman slash inventor slash mother slash
yeah,
wife.
she did it all in a well before. Now women can do it all, but that was well before women
And
had any kind of standing,
and
particularly scientists.
zero
Yeah,
monetary reward.
yeah,
I mean, that is just
yeah,
amazing to me.
yeah.
Do you have one more for us?
Well, I have one. It's kind of an obtuse one, actually. There's a woman whose name is Carrie Nation, and there's a lot of people who hated Carrie Nation because Carrie was the woman that sort of tried to stop rampant alcoholism that was happening in the United States. And she sort of single-handedly began the abolitionist movement, where a prohibition movement, where she would go to bars and smash liquor bottles. It seems like an odd thing, odd woman for me to be celebrating since we're drinking the bee's knees. But it was important at the time because alcohol at the time was like pure grain alcohol, and so men mostly, women didn't really partake of alcohol back then. Men were drinking it and they were getting drunk all the time. And more importantly, they were getting brain damage because of this kind of alcohol. And so many women were left impoverished. They were left home with the kids. The husband died or the husband was incapacitated through alcohol, including hers. And she decided that she wasn't going to take it anymore and started this movement. And so naturally, a lot of people don't like her because, she started this movement, but it was really important at the time. And after prohibition, then laws get put in place about the type of alcohol, the amount of alcohol that can be in alcohol. And she did a lot of good. but she's sort of obtuse and doesn't really get a lot of attention, I don't think. So here's to Carrie Nation. We'll drink to her.
Carrie Nation.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate to drink to her?
Well, probably not, but we're going to do it anyway.
And Susan, as you said, you've got to start somewhere with every movement.
Yeah.
So with prohibition, I mean, there's really no right way to start a movement, I don't think. You just kind of start.
I think it comes from some angst around, I'm not taking this anymore. I'm not going to watch these drunk men ruin families, ruin lives. I mean, she was also very religious, so it bubbled up from that a little bit too. But no, I think it starts from, I'm not taking it anymore and I'm going to take some action. That's where I think it happens from. Yeah.
I tell you, we've discussed some fierce women today, really. And I don't want to leave this podcast until we get a little fiercer by learning your tip of the podcast.
Okay.
Because it's going to make me fiercer, I'm sure. I'm not sure what it is.
I know you might want to lower your expectations on this one. Okay. So my tip of the day is actually sort of in keeping with the bee's knees. I found these terrific covers that are made out of beeswax, and it's from a firm called Organic Outlaws. And what they're trying to do is save saran wrap and plastic and aluminum foil and so forth that we all use to wrap things in, right? And so they've come up with this beeswax cloth that you can then use to wrap cheese in, or for example, if we were going to put our drink away, which would almost never happen, but you put our drink.
What are you talking about?
For later, you'd put it on like this, and there you go. You got a cover, and you don't have saran wrap or you don't have aluminum foil, and they're reusable. So I want to support Organic Outlaws in this effort to try and save the planet a little bit and get rid of things we shouldn't be using more of.
I'm going to buy these.
Yeah,
this is unbelievable.
I'm going to give this to you. Here's my gift to you.
And Tom, BHT Tom, he's going to flip out over this.
Okay.
I've got to get 2, 3, 4.
And then if you go like this, it makes it a little bit more malleable. Whatever you.
Now, can you wash it?
Yes, and you wash it, and you can use it over and over again.
Oh,
yeah.
It says cotton beeswax and jojoba oil.
Yep.
It also says we've saved 1,500 square feet of plastic wrap from entering oceans and landfills, and we've also planted a tree by supporting this company.
Yeah. So we need to do more.
Outlaw.
We need to do more. We need to empower these kind of people, and we need to do more. Do you know that we all eat or ingest a credit card of microfibers a week?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's on their commercial. There you go.
And when I
Happy
can't
podcast.
think, I think all those little plastic microfibers are lodged in my brain.
Right.
It's stopping me from thinking.
Yeah.
Or at least that's the excuse.
There's got to be something.
This is a game changer.
Don't you think?
I love this.
Yeah. So that goes with the bee's knees and helping improve the world the way the women we've talked about today have.
For sure. Thank you, Susan. And that is a Celebrating Women in History wrap. We want to thank you for listening. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to our channel and share with your family and friends. We are thrilled you're here, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
We thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed this podcast. If you did, please share this show with friends and family and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This way, you'll never miss weekly drops. Stay strong, dream big, and floss your teeth.